Good morning. It is a Tuesday. It is about 8:30 in the morning, a little earlier today. Going surfing this afternoon. The swell's coming up all along the coast, especially as we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like Mavericks breaking kind of stuff. We are going to talk today about the forecast highs, which will be the warmest we've seen in some time, maybe the warmest temperatures of the season thus far. That's today. And then tomorrow, temperatures plummet. They drop 10 to 15 degrees on Wednesday from where they were today. So a cooling trend. We talked about it last night. We'll see it in the models. Week trough goes through. Temperatures peak today. They drop down Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and kind of into the weekend. More spring-like, certainly below average or at average, not where we've been, well above average. And we make room for some potential rain, and actually potentially a lot of rain, and I'll show you what I mean by that, showing up in the precipitable water model. So first shot we're going to start off, and then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, and then we're going to get into the other stuff. I know, right? We're going to go right to the models. First thing I want to show you, though, is the beautiful morning we're seeing temperatures. This is out by Fall River. That's Mount Shasta. This is Mount Lassen. Beautiful. That's Eastern California, obviously, Northeast California, and Bernie, MacArthur. All those areas are stunning up there, and the weather's going to be awesome. But you do see these high cirrus clouds. Now, these are contrails from jets, but you're also seeing the high cirrus clouds filtering in because weather systems are going to start showing up the high ice crystal clouds representing the beginning of that. So that's our first live camera. We're going to start off here with our GFS. Right, we know what that looks like, and we've got today the hottest day of the week, hottest day maybe of the season thus far, highest temperatures, and now we're all the way into Wednesday morning, and we mentioned temperatures drop a good 10 degrees Wednesday. Well, this is why. So the trough kind of clicks in. Okay, so is that rain? Yeah, it looks like maybe Thursday afternoon, maybe a few sprinkles. Certainly for Northern California, you guys up in Crescent City and Eureka, you guys are wet on Friday morning. Bay Area, maybe some drizzle, but again, the main impact from this little change in weather is going to be cooler, lower temperatures. And then you see it kind of opens up here a little bit. See that system there? And then the potential here, I don't know if this will show it, but the precipitable water really gets going on the AR potential. So what we just saw there was the cool down, and then that chance for a few sprinkles as we get into Friday and Saturday. So here are the forecast high temperatures. It's an isotherm map representing colors representing equal temperature. And you can see it. This is today's forecast. Well, first of all, down in the desert southwest, you're almost 100 degrees. Phoenix set a record yesterday for this time of year for the day, and they could set records again today. We might see a couple records fall in the state, but all the way up into Redding area, you're in the mid 80s today. San Francisco, 84 degrees today, and to put it in perspective, tomorrow San Francisco ends up at 74 degrees. So there's a big, at 62 degrees. So almost a 20 degree drop in San Francisco between today and tomorrow. San Jose, 86 degrees. Wednesday, San Jose, 66 degrees. So 10 to 20 degrees cooler as we go into tomorrow. It's not going to be cold. It's still in the 60s, more typical for this time of year, but just a big departure from where we are today. And again, there's a beach hazard statement that has to do with the bigger surfing coming in, but really a lot has to do with the heat in the urban center, San Francisco, Daly City, and what have you, and folks are going to flock to the beach. They did yesterday. It becomes very dangerous at that point because it's Ocean Beach is gnarly, and with this heat, it just chases people to the coast. And again, I know it's not fair to do this, but my parents grew up in West Portal, and their parents in West Portal, California, and I have to tell you, and I know it's different now, but my parents can't swim they just were horrible swimmers, and all their friends were horrible swimmers. I know this from the 40s and 50s, but they were just horrible swimmers. They just weren't, because San Francisco back then, they had fly shackers and they had sutro bass, but they just weren't crushing the swimming. And I remember that well. And so traditionally, in my mind, San Franciscans not great swimmers. I think it has to do with the weather. I know that's a total profile. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure I am wrong because I surf with a lot of local city guys, and they're pretty good swimmers, man. But I'm just saying the bulk. Okay, so I'm sure I'm going to hear about that because it's not fair to do. I don't know. Maybe you guys are crushing the swimming, but I just remember my parents' era. We go to, yeah, I want to get into it. Okay, so here is the precipitable water. So this is sort of the game we're going to play here. We know the temperature's hot today. Temperatures cool significantly tomorrow, Wednesday, and that's because we're going to get a weak weather system coming in, which you'll see here. But that weak weather system is going to kind of stay semi-offshore, quasi-stationary low, which is unsettled. And now it's going to try to direct these blue areas, the atmospheric river, into our region. And you're going to see and hear a lot of different stories over the next few days as this atmospheric river becomes closer to reality and harder to predict, especially this far out. So first thing you'll note is, see, here we are today, hottest day. And then see that little swirl right there? That's what we talked about yesterday. It's still on track. That's Wednesday night. That's the big cool down. Well, Wednesday afternoon. That's the big cool down. And then you see it's relatively dry after that. So the rainfall, precipitable water, kind of light. And then you're like, okay, so now we're into a cooler pattern. You can see more of a zonal flow. I wonder if you can see that right here. See the wind barbs, right? We know about wind barbs. We know that the tails are like the feathers of an arrow, and the line is the point. And so the winds, if you look at this is sort of a meridional flow or zonal flow, which is going to keep us in an unsettled pattern. This is Friday. The moisture plume, though, right? The moisture plume not really linking up yet, but it does, at least according to this most recent run of the GFS. So here, that looks wet to me. That's Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, kind of wet. But then watch this thing, this bad boy. This is Monday, Tuesday, and then look at that. That's ridiculous. That would be an event. And that's Wednesday morning early. That's equal opportunity. That's Portland all the way to San Diego. Pretty good atmospheric river, especially from San Francisco north, which is so often the case. And then this is on Wednesday afternoon, April 3rd. But you see what we got here? So see that line just keeps playing with us. So instead of trying to get too wrapped into where that line's going to be, I think the most important thing to note is this and this flow. Okay, this is upper level stuff. So you're looking at, see how the arrows, the jet stream is generally focused west, and it's going to be, or from the west to the east in a flat line. That's an unsettled pattern. That means instability just based on where the jet stream is and where the lows are, but it also has the potential to drag in this moisture. So stay tuned. Today hot, tomorrow cooler, next a couple days after that into the weekend, maybe a sprinkle. Kind of you're going to see chance of a shower, slight chance of a shower, but then somewhere around early next week, Sunday night, you're going to start hearing more rumblings of like this AR potential. So it would be nice. I mean, anytime you get rain in here this time of year, you're crushing it, which would be nice. And we'll see how it all plays out. And here's the satellite loop, and you can see, you don't even need me to do this, but I like doing it because I like drawing arrows. Always did. So here's trough. Look at the ridge. That's the jet stream. And then it zones out. So that's the plan. That's for today. That's why it's going to be so warm. And then, I hate it when it does that. This guy always folds up on me. I'm going to, can I refresh it? Let's try that. Yeah, we can. Heck yeah. And then that's this satellite loop. And you just see what's going on across the country. And you can see kind of an atmospheric river of sorts in the West Coast already. That straight line that's blowing water, like a water hose. Right here. I'm going to actually go see Dad today. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to bring up the swimming thing. Because you know what's funny about him? He's 98. Okay, that's the kind of the atmospheric river pointed the wrong way. What's funny about that is he's 98, but I'm going to bring that up. And he's losing a step. But in terms of, no, we could swim. Because I've seen him swim. He's a horrible swimmer. Okay, we've done the weather, right? So we're cool. But when they learned to swim back then in the 30s and 40s, I think, I'm just gleaning this, but Johnny Weissmuller, Buster Crabbe, remember the old Tarzans? They were all kind of Olympic swimmers. Duke Kahanamoku, they were kind of Olympic swimmer type guys, but they were beautiful. And I don't think my dad and his friends had the opportunity to take swimming lessons. So they would watch Johnny Weissmuller, and Johnny Weissmuller, right? Or Buster Crabbe. Those guys were Olympic swimmers. Buster Crabbe was like Flash Gordon, right? So I'm dating myself and my parents. But anyway, they learned how to swim from movies. And I think they never really learned how to swim from a coach or a swimmer, which makes sense, right? That wasn't a thing back then. So I know I'll talk to him about it today and I'll get back to you on it, but he's going to definitely go, oh no, because he would do this move where he'd swim, but it was slow. It was kind of like they were flexing with every stroke, like, and then they'd breathe, and they'd slow, like literally, like this is, still breathing, right? And of course, that's not how people swim. That just isn't. You sing, you start to sing. Oh, that's God's going to get me for that. Okay, so small craft advisories offshore. Winds come up. Wind advisories in Northern California. That shows up as this Wednesday system drops in and creates a temperature gradient, pressure gradient too as well. Some wet weather here. Pretty quiet. Little fire danger there. A little bit of fog there. Yeah, we're good, man. That's travel today. And then this is how it looks for today and tomorrow. And you can see a little bit of rain there. Not much. The green's this is straightforward map, surface map. This is where it's wet. This is where it's not. You can see the surface highs. Remember, we're at the surface. We're not aloft. When we were looking at the atmospheric precipitable moisture, we're aloft. We're way up there in the jet stream. When we were looking at the sea level pressure and rainfall, we were back down at the surface. And this is another way to interpret the surface with high pressures and low pressures. There's high pressures aloft and low pressures aloft and vice versa. So we'll get into that some other day. This is one of my favorite spots. This is the old, this is Mount Vision. And you're kind of looking at Drake's Estero. And one of my favorite things to do was the Johnson's Oyster Farm used to be back here. They're not there anymore. But this Estero goes all the way out to the opening, the mouth opening between Lemontor and Drake's Beach, and it's beautiful. It's like crystal clear water. I used to see the oyster farmers out there all the time. We take kayaks and we kayak out, and it'd take a good half hour, 45 minutes to get out there. But it's an awesome adventure. I don't know if you can still access the beach that way. I don't know if you can still launch your kayaks. This is, I think now you have to get permits. We used to camp out there. We used to do a lot of weird Point Reyes camping. Here's this morning. It's beautiful, isn't it? There's Ocean Beach. Ocean Beach is kind of big today. It's coming up. They want to get it up to 10, 15 feet by Thursday, Friday. No fog, beautiful day. It's going to be warm. You can look at that picture and go, it's going to be warm today, right? The air's sinking, remember? Air's sinking and warming. And that's why it's going to be so warm. Tomorrow the air is not going to sink. It's going to actually kind of start to rise, create a cooler environment. Here is Mount, we were just here, Mount Pius, and no fog. Although that's pretty interesting, right? Look at that little shallow marine layer there. See that? That's up by, that's from Stenson Beach, Salinas area. So there is a little bit of fog up north. That's some coastal fog, which makes sense. As that high weakens, the fog is going to rush back in. This is, this is an interesting spot. This is kind of on the west shore of Lake Tahoe. And I'm getting into this camera. I want to say, let's see what I see. I'm sorry to do this. Bliss State Park, which we all know. You see the sign for it. This is kind of, I think, more by fallen leaf. But a beautiful day at the lake. No wind. Snow is going fast, right? Now, what's that? Upcoming weather event has the potential on Thursday, Friday to bring some light snow to the mountains. But then that atmospheric river will be interesting because those have a tendency to bring higher level snowfall. Right? Mount Shasta, some of the high clouds. We talked about those high cirrus clouds infiltrating, representing that change in weather, which is about 24 hours away. About 24 hours away. And the change of weather being high pressure releasing and the winds going more onshore, and then that kind of zonal flow. That just means west to east, on pretty much a flat line, like a conveyor belt, right? So that allows things to hit the west coast fairly unfettered. Let's loop it, want to? Okay, because we did weather, remember? I was sick. I'm still kind of worried about Dad. I wonder what he's going to say about the swimming thing, because he really fancied himself quite the swimmer. This is Mount Shasta this morning. Beautiful. Some contrails. More contrails. That tells you the atmospheric is very much cool up there. Sun coming up. No snow in the trees. Beautiful. This is from Hammond Ranch, which is a property that was developed back, 20 years ago now. This is our friends. These are our friends. That is Jackie, because you see the black dot on her forehead right here. That's the only way I can tell her. She's got a little flat, see that little black dot? So that's mom. These are the babies. This baby is eternally growing. If you've been with me for this whole sort of traumatic period when we had those big storms up at Big Bear, 100-mile-an-hour winds up in the tree. I woke up in the morning. I turned them on in the morning. They had 3 eaglets at one point. One died, probably froze, because they were in it, man. I mean, it was bad and snowy. But now they're getting fed. It's amazing how much Shadow, the male, they both bring in food, but Shadow is a good hunter. For a while there, they were crushing the mud hens. There'd be like around the nest, especially when it's snowing. But now I guess maybe the fish are more abundant because I'm seeing more fish. God, it's so beautiful to watch, isn't it? It's nice to see them both moving. And I've heard again from all of you that the eaglets, to keep 3 in a nest is tough because the eaglets get pretty big. Like they don't leave the nest till they're big, like to the point that mom can't sit in there. So 3 eaglets, that's a lot for a nest. And I think the people who know birds were worried about. I was kind of dumb on it. I was like, oh, there's 3, that's awesome. But I didn't realize that there's 3 that good chance you're going to lose one, which was weirdly difficult, especially if you watch this camera long enough. You kind of grow attached to them. But they're getting big. Look at the little baby feet there. That's awesome. This guy, though, he's something, right? Like he is just like, I'm just going to keep growing. I'm going to keep eating. I am not done. And this other one, I think, was the last egg hatched. And that bird is fine. It's just the younger brother. It seems like it's running about a week behind. I know I worry every time they don't feed. But that little baby, I saw him up working it earlier. Okay, so that's our check on the eagles. This is our check on the surf. Like I say, Ocean Beach is a little big today. Well, for me, it doesn't look that big, but it's good size for sure, especially some of these sets. And one of my general rules of thumb at the beach, especially Ocean Beach, and any of the breaks up north, when the swell's building, like if this was this size and the swell was going to be smaller the next couple of days, it's like, okay, that's not so bad. But when the swell's building out here in the Pacific, these forerunner waves show up. So it might be like this, and then a really big wave shows up. So, and then you get in trouble out there fast, man. You get in trouble out there. I've been lucky. And by the way, I'm a good swimmer. I was a pretty good swimmer. I was a pretty damn good swimmer. You swim team and all that, and had some records. And I a couple times got myself in spots I didn't want to be in. And so I can imagine if you weren't. So I'm going back to the West Portal kids not being good swimmers. I'm sure they are now. Okay. Santa Cruz, swells pleasant. One thing I noticed the other day, when we're going to go down the coast a little bit, we'll go to Halama, and then I think we go to, I can't remember the last surf stop, but notice the birds, the sea life. That's one of the things about Northern California, north of Point Conception, San Luis Obispo north, but especially Monterey north, the sea life is ridiculous. That has to do with cold water, the cold upwelling that occurs because of the westerly winds in the spring, which are starting up now. Now it pushes the warm water aside, the cold water comes up, and the cold water is where the nutrients are. And so when you see birds like this, and you go places where it's warm water, you don't see birds. Well, maybe I shouldn't make that statement, but it seems to me these cold water climes, you see a lot more bird activity, and with the bird activity, you see more fish and whales and otters and on and on and on. And that's something I just notice it. I notice whenever I look at the pictures, like especially when you look at the lane, it's very active out there because you have the birds out at the rock, the seals out at the rock, and then you also have the seals off at the pier. This is Halama, tip of Point Conception. Oh, there's Franny. This is the fog bank, the marine layer trying to bring itself back. And so the marine layer is going to have a full show. I know. Sorry about that. Little dogs. Well, first of all, marine layer. It is coming back, and that Wednesday cool down will involve a lot of cool stratus coming in, and as far south as San Diego and those areas. So the high pressure is weakening, the offshore winds are weakening, and so the fog is now working its way back towards the east. I was going to say little dogs. I've never had a little dog. Dad's a veterinarian, grew up with animals. I don't think I can train her, man. I love her. She's awesome. Frances. My wife wanted a little dog, and we always had big dogs, hunting dogs when I was growing up. And big dogs aren't hard to train, I don't think. This is actually, I'm asking you a question. So I'd love it if you chime in. If you have little dog, when I say train, I mean come, sit, stay. Don't take off when you jump out of the car at the coffee shop and I got to chase you around and look lame because you won't come. And that's driving me crazy. She's only a year old, and maybe I can train her, and maybe you can give me some help. But she's awesome, dog. This is different. It's like I said this once before. It's just like having a monkey and a cat and a dog, right? Like my other dogs they were dogs. They're freaking awesome dogs. Carl, Casey, but Franny. And plus, she's a female. It's a whole nother deal. Okay, this is Malibu. Some of the funnest days I've had, but especially when you're with your kids. But a little dinky day like this with nobody out, longboards, and then you just snag some little nuggets. Let's see. I hope the camera stays. Let's see if he gets that. You got to paddle harder than that, dude. You got to paddle harder than that. Oh, look at you. Yeah, a boy. Right? It's just fun. It's good times. Okay, go to the mountains now. And you can see Palisades, Tahoe. This is Mr. Toad's, so we know that's going to happen. Snows, you already see some dirt coming through the snow. It's melting. And I kind of want it to roll. It's pretty quiet up there today, isn't it? All right, well, we'll take it. Let's go down one more. Let's go over to Siberia Cam. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? This is up at the lodge, up at the top. And beautiful day. Lake Tahoe, right? Oh my God, Lake Bigler. You know the story on that? I know we must have talked about Bigler. He was I think he might have been, I should remember this. I think he was, when the state capital was in Benicia, I think he was the governor. I should know that, but they named it Bigler after him. And so, can you imagine? I'm sure he was a good dude, but that's Lake Tahoe sounds way more awesome. This is, you can see the top of the tram up there to the right. This is the tower for the tram. We were kind of up there when we were looking at Lake Bigler. That last shot was up there in that area. And you see the chairlifts running. You see a few people skiing. I would think the skiing right now is pretty fun. I think you want to get it before lunchtime, before it gets melty. This is Heavenly Valley. And you know what? I'm the guy. I love groomers. You can make some turns on that with these new skis. Used to be a snowboarder, and then I got into these new skis. And I would literally just do big, long turns. No hero stuff. Just big, long turns. Get to the bottom and do it again. And that view is stunning. That's one of the awesomest things about Heavenly is a lot of awesome things, but is the view. It's stunning. So there you go. There's Mammoth Mountain. We talked about that yesterday. There's the Mammoth. This camera is fairly predictable. Looks warm up there. It doesn't even look like you need a jacket today. So this is going to be the story this week. And I'll roll through it real quick. So we back up. Let's just count. This is precipitable water, but we can see where the jet stream is, right? And so here's jet stream starts to buckle. There's your cool down Wednesday. Okay, then the jet stream kind of stays in a zonal flow. That's through the weekend, which is going to be kind of spring-like, kind of mild, kind of cool, kind of breezy, coastal fog, all that. And then this AR shows up south. That's on Sunday morning. Southern California gets a good dose of rain. And then, bam, it starts to regroup on Tuesday. And then by Tuesday night. So right now, Tuesday night looks like, wow, that's some stuff. Does that happen? I don't know if that happens, but it could happen. I think there's some iteration, some level of that will happen. So when you plan your day and your week, just think about what we talked about here. So we're going to go, first of all, tomorrow, 10, 20 degrees cooler than it was today, more clouds. And then over the weekend, it's going to hover in the 50s and mid 60s around the state, maybe a little warmer Southland. And then on Sunday night, the atmospheric river kind of engages a little bit, and so we have a better opportunity Sunday, Monday into Tuesday of some significant rain. And we can look at that one more time. Let's do this. Let's back this up. So this is GFS at the ground. This is Thursday. This is that cool down from Wednesday and Thursday. Here's Thursday afternoon. See the rain. Then Friday and Saturday morning. And then here's Sunday. So that Sunday sort of kicks it off. And you see the isobars kind of tightened up in there. So, I mean, let's not go out much past Sunday, right? Let's just get through this. So basically Sunday, in terms of, if I'm thinking, if I'm in the Bay Area, I'm thinking, oh, rain Sunday. Sunday's a rainy day. Monday looks rainy in the morning, and then it sort of wants to keep going. This is all fantasy land stuff. Okay, I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.